For CyberSource Limited. We are a payment management company, and what I want to talk to you about today is the theme of selling overseas is optimising payments and credit card fraud, or fraud in general. Now, I don't want to stand here and tell you the markets you should be going into, or try and explain how you should be doing things. What I want to do is give you a little bit of a flavour of some of the information that we've got in terms of foreign markets. And really just run through something which we call payment management, which really is designed to try and ease any transitions or ease any entrances into new markets, and also the business that you have. Things I'm going to focus on because I think they're most relevant to the people in the room today. And certainly when you're talking about some of the complexities of moving into foreign markets and what they bring. We bring global payment processing, fraud management solutions, and enterprise payment security. And I'll go into a little bit more detail as I go on with the presentation. The unifying theme for that is payment management. And what that actually means, or what we define it as, is the active management of payment operations throughout the order life cycle to optimise business results. And pretty simply, we have a singular aim for our merchants, and probably the same aim as they have, which is if you sell 100 euros or pounds or dollars, the idea is to collect as much of that 100 euros, pounds or dollars as possible. So we want to optimise your opportunity to gain revenue from the markets you're going into. We also want to minimise any profit leakage you've got as you go along through the process. So a little bit about the world as we see it. Firstly, looking at payment management, basically if you look at companies historically in our space, they tend to silo the individual parts. They silo the payments, the fraud, and the payment security. What we find is that merchants want to integrate those into a single supplier. In terms of the data that they're holding, we recommend that merchants, wherever possible, eliminate any access to payment data on their systems, so virtualising their payment data. And finally, in terms of processes such as manual review, anything that takes time and energy and headcount in your business, we look to try and make that as intelligent as possible and take it away from you if we possibly can, or minimise it if we possibly can. So the world as we see it, from the figures that we have, 2009, we've got a nearly $1 trillion global e-commerce market. We split it into 4 regions, but the main 3 definitely are the US and Canada, Europe and Asia. Now, we're very lucky we have the benefit of having been a US company and started off in e-commerce in '94. So the US and Canada is a very mature market. It tends to be ahead of the game in terms of what's happening in e-commerce. We've had the benefit of getting that knowledge as our company's grown. But what we do see is that the growth in the US compared to the rest of the world is significantly lower. It's a very mature market, but to be honest, the opportunities for natural e-commerce growth are relatively limited. Europe, we're looking at 6% annual growth, so there's still a great opportunity, but there is variation between the various markets in terms of the growth that we're expecting to see. And finally, Asia, which come in at 3rd place, but with 26% growth, is really one of the hotspots moving forward for e-commerce merchants. So we have a principle, we're currently in 190 countries already, but our guiding principle in terms of how we enter a new market and get connections into it is 2-3-5. So what that fundamentally means is if a country has an e-commerce spend of $2 billion with 3 predominant payment types that make up 5% of the overall spend, then we will look to make a connection. And what that means is hopefully for merchants who partner with us or look to join us moving forward, they get the confidence that as they grow their business and they're looking for new markets to penetrate, we're already ahead of them and we've already made the connections in that country. So the second part that I want to talk about as part of our overall payment management piece is the fraud management side of things. So in terms of the cost of fraud, customers tend to look at it as the cost of chargebacks. In actual fact, there's a great deal more to it. You have the cost of the detection tools in the first place, the rules and decision systems that you integrate into your systems, and then we get into the 3 parts where we see that we can make a real direct impact and reduce costs for you. So, first and foremost, valid order rejection. It's very easy to reduce fraud to 0%. It's not a problem, you just stop taking any orders, which is really a problem. What you need to be looking at doing is, as you see here, you probably can't see there, on average merchants reject 4% of orders coming in their systems. What you'll find is a number of those are going to be valid orders that you're turning away before you get the opportunity to process them. You want to take on a system that is going to minimise that and get it down as low as possible. Further to that, you have the manual review process, which is costly in terms of headcount and time consuming. On average, 90% of transactions are reviewed by merchants. And after they're reviewed, 72% are still accepted anyway. So chances are, if you're accepting 90% and if you're reviewing 90% and accepting 72%, there's some fiddling to be done with the numbers there. And finally, there's what we see and what most people accept as the cost of fraud, which is that 1% of overall orders prove to be fraudulent and you will get chargebacks for them. So when you put all that together, the cost of tools, the orders you're turning away, the manual review process and the fraud that you're actually accepting, that can cost anything between 5 to 8% of merchants' revenue, which is why you need a best-of-breed fraud tool in place to be able to deal with that. So, CyberSource basically grew up with fraud. We have an offering called Decision Manager, which is hosted by CyberSource and comprises built-in tests in conjunction with business rules to allow you to manage your fraud moving forward. It comes at 3 levels, so that you can either take it on yourself and manage it yourself, or we can assist you with rules, or we can take them off your hands completely, and even we can do your order review for you on your behalf. It comes with a library of built-in rules which you can use straight away, but it also has rules that you can manipulate as you choose to, so it can be personalised to your business. The benefit also is that as your business changes, as you see different trends in fraud, you're able to address it, adjust the rules in real time. It's a real-time fraud tool. You can immediately see the results of what's going on with that. It doesn't need to be managed by the IT department. It's a simple rule-based system, so fundamentally anyone within your business who you choose to use it can make the necessary changes. Following that, we have a simple screen which allows you to do case management and order review, and then at the back end you have a comprehensive reporting tool so that you can see exactly what's going on in terms of fraud. That's aside from these checks. We do over 200 checks alongside the actual fundamental rules. I'm not going to go through them all, but IP geolocation, understanding where the computer is in the world so you can see if it's a genuine order. Device fingerprinting, so you get a unique idea of the machine that's actually sending the order, so you can see if someone's trying to send multiple orders through different email addresses, different credit cards. And we have some wonderful things like Visa giving us the information on their chargebacks, which we're the only tool that they feed into. The other benefit that CyberSource's DM has is that information from all our merchants globally is constantly being fed into it. So you get the benefit of seeing what's happening with our merchants in America, in Europe, in India. So you're constantly getting updated and you can constantly see what's going on globally in terms of fraud. Fundamentally, the message from CyberSource today is to research and understand your markets. Understand the opportunity that's there, but understand that the partner that you use will need to allow you to use the local payment options which will give you penetration into the market. Review your end-to-end fraud strategy. The costs aren't simply to do with chargebacks, they are across the whole system. Consolidate your reporting because it just makes your life easier. You can analyse your business better and the costs are reduced. And remove any sensitive data from the systems because it's a headache you just don't need on.